Today we're going to be talking about what to do when you have fractions that don't have equal sized pieces. We know that a fraction is when you have a part of a whole, and we know to be fair your part should be the equal same size. It wouldn't be fair for you to have a giant pizza, and for your friend to only have a teeny tiny pizza. You probably won't end up being friends for very long. So what we need to do is figure out a strategy for what to do when our pieces aren't the same size. So this is what we would typically expect with a fraction. All four pieces are equal size, everything is fair, and everyone be happy. Just as a quick reminder, remember on a fraction there's two numbers. The one on top is called the numerator. It's the number of pieces that are shaded. So for us, we only have one piece that's colored in. The bottom number is called the denominator. It's the total number of pieces, both shaded and unshaded. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4. So this fraction here would be 1/4. Now looking over here, I can see that the same amount is colored in. But looking, I can only see 1, 2, 3 pieces. It's just that the pieces aren't the same size. So what I need to do is I need to figure out a way to make the pieces the same size. Looking here, I can visualize how these two pieces put together are the same as this piece here. Therefore, if I took this piece and broke it in half, I should have two pieces that are the same as the ones that are on the other side. I can sketch that line in here to kind of visualize that. Now I can see I have 1, 2, 3, 4 equal pieces, and one of those 4 pieces is colored in. So again, that'd be written 1 piece colored in, and 1, 2, 3, 4 total pieces. It's the same amount that was colored, it just looked different because this wasn't an equal size piece. By drawing that line, we made it into equal size pieces. Let's try again with one that's a little bit more complex. Again, I want to use that strategy of trying to draw in lines to help me break it up into equal size pieces. I always start with the smallest pieces that I have and then build my way up. This guy and this guy right here are the smallest pieces I have, and luckily they're the same size. Now the next smallest piece is this one here. I have to visualize how many of these little pieces could fill up one of these bigger pieces. I can see that two little pieces here looks to be the same size of this one medium-sized piece. So if I were to take it and draw a line right here, I should now have 1, 2, 3, 4 equal-sized pieces. Well, now I have this really big piece over here. I have to figure out how I can break it up, how many of these small pieces I visualized could fit within here. Well, it kind of looks like this would be a line of symmetry for me, and that these 4 pieces here could be picked up and moved over here and have the same amount. So I'm going to go ahead and start continuing my lines across and see if that holds true. Well, that seemed to work across, and these two seem like equal-sized pieces on the top and the bottom now. And so now I have to visualize how it is I can break this big section up. Well, if I were to find about the middle of it, and again divide it down, I can now see that it looks like I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 equal-sized pieces. So now I could go ahead and draw that fraction. I have one piece that's been colored in, and we figured out that once we added in these extra lines, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 total pieces. So the part that's colored in would be 1/8 of the total. Let's go ahead and imagine then how much the pieces were that weren't totally colored in. Looking right here, I could see that I had to draw this line, that originally my box was 1, 2, 3, and 4 lines. If I just think about this piece right here, I can see that I have 2 of my small squares. I still have 8 total pieces, so in this section right here, if I were to get rid of this line, I would say that I have 2/8 of the total. Then remember how we have this giant piece over here. If I wanted to figure out the fraction of this piece right here, I would have 1, 2, 3, 4 of the pieces. And again, my total is always going to stay the same, so this would be 4/8. We just figured out that this right here was 1/8, and again, this is the same size of it, so this would be 1/8 as well. Let's try with another one. This one looks even bigger than the last one. We're going to have to do a lot of visualizing in order to fill out all the pieces. Start with the smallest ones again. So here I have the smallest one, and work your way up to the bigger ones. I can see that these two pieces here look to be about the same size as this guy right here. If I just divide it in half here, I should be able to see that I now have 1, 2, 3, 4 equal-sized pieces. Take the next biggest one. This guy right here is now our medium-sized piece. And again, I'm trying to picture of how many of these small pieces could fill up this medium size. Well, it kind of looks like I'd have 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to continue that line across and then figure out where the middle is and divide it up. Now it looks like I have pretty close to 8 equal-sized pieces. However, I'm not all the way done yet. I still have this giant section down here. Well, really, this giant section down here looks pretty much the same as this big piece up here if I had all of these. So I'm going to go ahead and practice taking all of these lines that I've already drawn and just continue them down into the next section. That didn't seem to solve my problem. These pieces down here still look bigger than these pieces. Do you know how I could divide these up to make them look like these pieces up here? If you said that we needed to also cut it in half this way, you'd be correct. Now, even in my quick sketch, I can see that all of my pieces look to be pretty much the same size. So to find the fraction of this guy right here, I would need to figure out the total number of pieces. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 total pieces. Only one of the pieces was colored in, so my shaded section is 1/16. Just for practice, let's figure out what the other sections were before we drew in the lines. We remember how this one down here was the exact same size as this one right here. It was 1 out of 16 pieces. Now remember, this is a line that we drew in. Originally, this piece had 2 medium long lines and then 2 short lines. Altogether, it ended up with 2 pieces. So this section right here would be 2 out of 16 pieces. Now this one is a little bit bigger. Remember how it had this side, this side, this side, and this side. So within that square, there was 1, 2, 3, 4 out of 16 pieces. Notice my denominator is staying the same because it's always out of 16 pieces. I haven't added or taken anything away. I'm just figuring out how many of those small pieces fit into the bigger squares and rectangles. Now this guy down here, he was the biggest one. He took up the whole bottom section of our grid. Altogether there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pieces. It's still in the same giant square we had before where we figured out our total was 16. So this guy down here took up a total of 8/16 of our grid. Now that we've broken it into equal pieces, it was relatively easy to figure out how much each one of those smaller squares and rectangles were. So why don't you try this one yourself? Really think about where's your smallest piece and visualize how you can continue the lines so that you end up covering the whole grid with each one of those small pieces. Right now I want you to go ahead and pause the video, copy in each one of these on your whiteboard, and then when you're ready to check your work, you can go ahead and start the video again and compare it to my results. Okay, let's go ahead and see how we could draw in some lines. These guys right here are obviously our smallest ones. And again, looking at these two, if I put them together, it looks about the same as here. So I want to continue this line across so that now I have 1, 2, 3, 4 equal-sized pieces. Now I move to my next biggest piece. The next biggest piece is down here. And I can see that within here, I can see there's 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces. So again, I just want to continue the lines that are already started, and then visualize where I need to add in lines myself in order to break it up into those same size squares. Now this looks a little bit different. I have to picture how I can fill in this relatively large section right here. Before we've been dividing it into half and half, but this isn't half and half. There's another section over here. Still, comparing the general shape and size of this piece, it looks to be about the same as the general shape and size of this piece. I'm thinking that if I just end up continuing these lines across, I'm going to be in pretty good shape as far as dividing this section up. like I have some small pieces and some big pieces. If I divide it down vertically as well though, now I have the same size pieces all the way across. All of those are the same size squares. So thinking about each section, I would need to first figure out my total. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in a row. So that would be 6 plus 6 is 12, plus 6 is 18, plus another 6 is 24. So altogether I have 24. That means this guy right here is just 1 out of 24 pieces. The one directly beneath it is the exact same. It's still just 1 out of 24 pieces. Now this guy we had to break up. He wasn't actually just one piece. He actually used to be this perimeter right around here. So now there's really 2 pieces in this particular shape. So it would be 2 out of 24. The section below it was even bigger. Remember how it had a true square shape following along these 4 lines. It had 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces. So this one would be 4 out of 24. Then I remember how there was 2 big rectangles and each one of those was about the same size. It had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pieces. So that would be 8 out of 24. Then again 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 out of 24. Now there are other names for these fractions. For example, you might have been able to see that you seem to have 1, 2, 3 up and down rectangles, in which case this could be considered 1/3 and this could be considered 1/3. But as a simple way, if you just break it up into the smallest sections possible and then count how many of those tiny sections are in each one of your bigger shapes, you'll always be guaranteed to get the right answer. Another way you can go back and check is to count and add up all your numerators. They should equal the same as your denominator because all of your pieces should be counted for. So 1 plus 1 is 2, plus another 2 is 4, plus another 4 is 8, plus another 8 is 16, plus another 8 is 24. It added up to my bottom number, so I know I've done it correctly. Go ahead and you can move on to your next activity.